Let's say you like Dolce & Gabbana, the one, you like that safe date night amber scent, you want something elevated, something that performs a little better, you go for a Grand Soir. This video is sponsored by the website builder Squarespace. I asked you guys to suggest some new fragrances for me to buy and review next. You guys suggested fragrances all the way from affordable cologne fragrances to very expensive niche fragrances, so thank you for that. We've got 10 fragrances that I have bought, or mostly bought today. Let's go through them one by one. Here's one I've been hearing about quite a lot recently, Lattafa's Maahir Legacy. So this, if you guys don't know, is meant to replicate Parfum de Marly's Sedley. A lot of guys are saying this is a fantastic cologne, has fantastic longevity, and I've heard good things in general, and I wanted to try it out. And I'm finally glad somebody suggested this and for me to try this. I always thought that Parfum de Marly Sedley was quite an overpriced fragrance. It's from their summer fragrance lineup. It is fresh citruses up top, some mint, and very masculine ambroxan and sandalwood dry down, and some slight aromatic green herbaceous aspects in there as well. And I always had quite rich and full ingredients, a good use of naturals. However, Maahir Legacy really gets it wrong in the opening, in my opinion. It smells very metallic, musky, and reminds me of the mid-2000s style of fragrances. If you guys know, if you just smell like a fragrance from that time period, you can kind of smell the musks they used back then in this fragrance here. It smells mature, it smells masculine, fair enough, but I don't really think it smells that close to Sedley in the first hour or so. However, I think in the mid and dry down, this gets more accurate. This has the aromatic herbaceousness and those woods and the ambroxan in here that is more close to Sedley. So in the opening, I say this smells maybe 70% similar to Sedley, and then as it dries down, it progressively gets closer and closer, maybe 85 to 90%. And the performance isn't the best with this. I get around 6 hours with a medium projection. Sedley definitely performs better. However, I do think it's an overpriced fragrance, Sedley, so something that's an affordable alternative like Maahir Legacy might be very useful. For me, I don't really understand the hype from my 1.5 wearings of this, like I kind of wore it for a second time. I would say this is a 7 out of 10. It's not bad. It's a useful phrase. Like a 7 is still a decent score. It's not mind-blowing, but hey, this is useful to exist. Have you guys tried Maahir Legacy? What are your thoughts on it? YSL MYSLF Le Parfum. Okay, so I hated on the original quite a lot. I said it was Dior Sauvage without any of the character. That was like an orange blossom, white floral, ambroxan citrus fragrance. So it had none of the character of Sauvage. It became unisex. It just became a very plain fragrance. I gave that maybe a 7 out of 10, the original. Le Parfum basically takes that same idea, a bit of pepper, a bit of white floral orange blossom, some airy headios. It's a very airy fragrance mixed with some vanilla. This to me smells like they took the vanilla accord, like a bunch of notes, away from something like Altair and sort of isolated it. So if you can think about the sweet aspect of Altair as an entire fragrance, that's what this fragrance is. I kind of feel like it's incomplete. To me, I thought to myself, okay, I can use this as a layering sort of tool. So I spray this first, and then any fragrance on top of it, I can make it sweeter because this is quite a minimalist fragrance and has some vanilla in here. I do think it's useful in that regard. If you want to sweeten up any fresh fragrance, like I use this with Dolce & Gabbana's Light Blue Eau Intense, it worked. It made it more sweet, more appropriate for the cool weather. However, what disappointed me is that this doesn't really boost longevity in my opinion, because this itself lasts around 6 hours. This is underwhelming overall. It's pleasant, most people will love it. I think it's more for the layperson rather than frag heads like ourselves, but you might enjoy this, you might get into this. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's a slight improvement over the original, but it's not mind-blowing in my opinion. And by the way, guys, if you want to see more individual 1-minute reviews for other fragrances, you can go ahead and do that in our website, schoolofscent.com, which was made on today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the place to go if you want to make a very premium looking website with absolute ease of effort. You simply click and drag or use their AI system where they ask you a few questions about your dream website and they produce it for you. Some of you might be looking to start new projects. Let's say you want to start a new business and sell merchandise. You want to schedule and book appointments. You want to create a blog. Maybe you want to do your own fragrance reviews yourself. Squarespace is the place to go to create a professional, premium looking website easily. Plus, it's completely free to try out. You can go ahead and click the link in the description down below or in the pinned comment where you can create a website of your dreams for free. And if you absolutely fall in love with it, you can go ahead and use our code SchoolofScent at checkout to get 10% off your first purchase from Squarespace. Let's continue the video. Gucci Intense Oud. This is a fragrance I've been meaning to get for a long time. A lot of people say this is a great beginner oud fragrance, and I think I may agree. I really was put onto this fragrance. I mean, I'd smelled it before, but I kind of said, okay, I'll buy it whenever, maybe eventually, whatever, went to the back burner. But I smelled it on another guy in Barcelona. I smelled him walking past me. He's a fellow traveler and he just smelled incredible. And he told me he actually got a lot of compliments from this fragrance. This is a simplistic, spicy, rose, oud, ambery, a little bit of incense, and it's a beast projector. I feel like this fragrance makes me go a little bit nose blind. I think it is projecting quite high, but for me, this is quite a little sandalwood in here. Sandalwood can be something that people go nose blind to quite easily. They are most likely using a synthetic oud, probably cypriol mixed with other woody notes in here and some musks to make it more loud. Sandalwood naturally shouldn't be loud. It's actually quite a soft projecting note actually in perfumery. So there's probably sandalwood, a bit of cedarwood, some cypriol, some musks in here to make it really loud. But it's very sexy. It smells oriental, like the traditional oriental family. A very beginner-friendly oud, a bit dry, spicy, woody, with some ambery components in there. This is sexy. I think you can wear this in the daytime and nighttime. You have to be bold and confident to rock this as a signature. I think you can wear this in the autumn, winter, and springtime. This is one of the best oud fragrances in the mainstream designer market ever made. This lasts about 10 to 12 hours with a medium to loud projection. This is a fantastic, fantastic fragrance. For me, this is a 10 out of 10. 37.9% of people who watch School of Scent are subscribed to us. If you guys really want to see our channel grow, go ahead and click subscribe. Let's get that number to 40%. Thank you. Afnan 9 PM Rebel. Now, I didn't buy this fragrance. This was provided to me by DXB Perfume, who are now a long-term partner on the channel. They're not sponsoring today's video, but you guys can use our discount code in the description down below to get 15% off this fragrance. The original Afnan 9 PM, of course, is very famous in the community. It cloned Ultra Mal, but in a more fresh, more easy to wear way, in my opinion. And of course, 9 PM Rebel is getting a lot of hype, a lot of big launch marketing as it came out recently. This, to me, if you look at the notes, it is sort of like the mixture of the idea of a pineapple and oak moss combination from something like Hacivat, mixed with some effervescent, sparkling ambergris that you get in something like Baccarat Rouge 540 with a slight caramel note as well. So think Hacivat meets Baccarat Rouge meets a bit of caramel. This is how I would describe 9 PM Rebel. I think this fragrance smells nice in the air, but it smells a little bit awkward, like there's a clash of ideas, in my opinion, when you go up close on the skin. I feel like it will still get you compliments in the air, but it does smell a little bit awkward, in my opinion. More mature than something like the original 9 PM, not quite as mature as Hacivat. So it's still somewhere in the middle in terms of its maturity style. Maybe if you're a guy in your 20s and above, you can rock this fragrance. I have to say, fantastic longevity, 8 to 10 hours with a medium to loud projection. This will probably be a good compliment getter, but as I said, the ideas here are a little bit clashing in my opinion. Overall, I'd give this fragrance a 7 out of 10. Not my favorite from the 9 PM line, but it's still worth checking out. Valentino Uomo Intense. Now, this is a fragrance that's been on my radar for a while. I tried it a long time ago, and it's a classic in the community. This is definitely in the same style as something like Dior Homme Intense, an evening powdery iris fragrance. This smells quite simplistic to me, in my opinion. It's woody, powdery iris, a bit of amber, and I would say it just goes more in the gourmand vanillic direction compared to something like Dior Homme Intense. So if you want a more powdery iris-focused evening iris scent, go for Dior Homme Intense. Otherwise, this is more designer-esque, I would say, more mainstream friendly, a bit more sweet and sexy, more playful. This is the more playful counterpart to the more romantic Dior Homme Intense. I think the blend is very nice, it's smooth, not a lot going on in the blend. I think it's quite simple, but it's just nicely done. Performance, I'm getting just about 8 hours with a soft to medium projection. I feel like the projection needs to be louder in this. Has this been reformulated? Have I been out of the loop? I know it's a new packaging with this new lid. What do you guys think? Has Valentino Uomo Intense been reformulated? I think you can wear this in the autumn, winter, and spring, so it has some good wearability as well. It's worth the price tag. I would say this is a 9 out of 10. This is a classic in the community. I think it's still very much relevant, and I think it's worth trying out. Okay, we've got a lot to work through for this comment. Let's just do the first two fragrances. I'm going to ignore that third one. Hugo Boss Bottled Absolu. This to me smells very much a flanker of the Boss Bottled Elixir. This has that spicy, fuzzy feeling, but goes more in the vanilla direction. I think it's redundant to own more than one of that line, that Boss Bottled Elixir, Triumph Elixir, and now Absolu. I feel like you only need one of these. Boss Bottled Absolu is a dark fragrance, but still very sexy. I think you can wear this in the daytime, in the autumn and winter, as well as the nighttime, and then only in the evening and the springtime is my opinion on wearability for this. This smells spicy, leathery, smooth suede, with a lot of vanilla, patchouli in here. It is a simple fragrance. It's sort of like they took something like along the idea of something like red tobacco and made it a lot more simple. So if you like that smoothness and that dark aspect of red tobacco or something like Carlisle, you want to take away the more challenging aspects, you'll be left with Boss Bottle Absolu. This is a dark, slightly mature, mainstream friendly designer fragrance. I think the blend is immaculate. It is sexy. I really loved Boss Bottle Elixir. I gave that a 10 out of 10. I was initially going to give this a 9 out of 10 because I don't think you can wear this in the springtime, but actually I think you can get 3 out of 4 seasons of wearability as well. I think this is a 10 out of 10. This is fantastic. I'm kind of getting rid of, well, I am getting rid of Boss Bottle Elixir and I'm replacing it with this. If I had to pick only one from those 3, I would go for the Absolu. Tony Iommi Deify by Xerjoff. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys saw that buying guide that I'm not sure if anyone actually wanted. I did an Xerjoff buying guide and I talked about this fragrance. I tried a sample and then I bought the bottle very shortly afterwards. So I kind of spoiled the review basically, but this is a really interesting fragrance. It's kind of is that rock star collaboration they're going for. It smells like a rock star signature, this scent. It is dark, spicy, masculine, intense, in your face, it doesn't care. It has some beautiful naturals as well. This is some of the best niche perfumery I've tried in recent times. The sample just blew me away, and this full bottle, I'm so happy I have it because it looks badass as well. The presentation's awesome. This is spices, green apple, like a big fun fruity vibe here with some rose that's very clean, some patchouli that's not too dark, it's quite a clean patchouli, it's all very high quality patchouli, and some leather in here. This has the perfect balance of several aspects going on, but doesn't feel too complex, doesn't feel too challenging to the nose. It's not that it's challenging necessarily in the blend, it's just that some people like this style, some people might not. Definitely worth sampling. I want to say blind buy this, but I think this is a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. This has become recently one of my most favorite niche fragrances of all time. I wouldn't wear maybe a suit with it, I'd wear maybe more casual clothing, but I think this could be a signature for myself personally. I love this so much. This is a 10 out of 10 and it lasts forever. It's like over 10, 12 hours with a medium to loud projection. This is a beast, easily worth the money. I paid full price for this. Swiss Arabian Shaghaf Vanilla Toffee. So Swiss Arabian is a house. I haven't tried any of the other fragrances previously, but this is getting a lot of hype in their marketing. It's a new recent launch, again provided by DXP Perfume. You can see our discount code in the description below. This is a very interesting fragrance. Of course, the name suggests this is going to be a gourmand. And when you apply this straight away, this smells like a very intense, sweet vanilla toffee candied fudge. It smells like vanilla fudge and it's super intense, and it reminds me why I hate gourmands in general. I think it's a really cool, creative fragrance, maybe unisex, leaning a little bit feminine in the opening, but to me, the opening is a bit too intense, but then the dry down gets better. It has a brown sugar note, and if you guys know, another one of my favorite fragrances of all time, Mancera Amore Cafe, also has brown sugar in there. So I think this dries down to something that reminds me more of Mancera's Amore Cafe, and then it goes to like a regular unisex fragrance. I think both genders could rock this. This has that vanilla toffee candy vibe here, mixed with a slight date note and a slight coffee note also. So I think it's an original creation overall, this is how I would describe it, but it's definitely for people who love gourmands. If you want a really decadent fragrance with limited wearability, I think gourmands have limited wearability in general, but I think you easily rock this in the autumn and winter time, especially for you ladies out there. I feel like ladies like gourmand fragrances like this more than us gentlemen do. But I think, yeah, this is still a very well created, very interesting idea. I like the idea and the risks taking here. This is a cool concept that I've not really tried anywhere else. It lasts a really long time as well, easily over 10 hours with a medium to loud projection. It's a good performer. I'm gonna give them props for their creativity here. It's not my style, but I give this a 7.5 out of 10. And lastly, a fragrance I've been meaning to acquire for a long time. I got myself a 30 ml of MFK Grand Soir. This is the kind of fragrance that I do think is affordable if you agree with me that you only need a 30 ml. I think some fragrances that are so beastly, it is better to just go for the smaller bottle size, especially if you're a collector. Unless you absolutely love this stuff, you're gonna wear it every day of your life, then fair enough, go for the 75 ml. But for £100, around £100 or 120, 130 bucks, you can get a 30 ml of Grand Soir. And I prefer this bottle size and bottle shape in general. I think the presentation here looks cooler. But anyways, besides that, yeah, Grand Soir, there's not a lot to talk about. This is a simple fragrance that's just massively done. This is amber, vanilla, and slight spiciness in here, and that's pretty much it. This is basically the best amber accord you'll ever smell in your entire life. And a fragrance accord is sort of like a chord in music. It's a sort of handful of notes put together, and this is what Grand Soir smells like. To me, it smells like they're using very expensive labdanum, very expensive vanilla. It's probably bourbon vanilla in here. And that's the kind of the beauty of this fragrance. They don't do too much in the blend here to let the notes and the ingredients do all the talking to really shine, give them the spotlight. An incredibly sexy, I would say unisex, leaning quite a bit more masculine fragrance that is warm, inviting, beautiful amber, very safe, but very expensive smelling. One of the safest, but most amazing and worth your money niche fragrances out there. Let's say you like Dolce & Gabbana, the one, you like that safe date night amber scent, you want something elevated, something that performs a little better, you go for a Grand Soir. 10 hours of medium projection, at least medium projection. That's what I'm saying. I think 3 sprays is all you need of the scent, even in the winter time. It projects so nicely, it smells so rich, and I feel like you'd wear this in more reserved environments anyway, so you wouldn't want this to be too loud and too overpowering on you anyways. That is why I think the 30 ml will probably be just fine for most guys. I think you can wear this in the autumn and winter and just about get away with this in the springtime. I don't always give really simple blends a 10 out of 10, but I think it really does work here and kind of makes sense in this creation. So I'll give this a 10 out of 10. One of my favorites from MFK, a masterpiece. You guys have to try this. Thank you guys for your suggestions. I think I give a lot of 10s today. So, you know, I'm very happy. I think my collection has really improved and I really want to thank you guys for that. You guys put some great suggestions on our Instagram. Make sure you guys are following us on there if you aren't already. What are your thoughts on my thoughts of these fragrances today? Have you tried any of these, or are there now some that you want to go try after watching this video? Let us know in the comments down below, guys, and make sure you go build the website of your dreams using Squarespace down in the video description down below as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to check out our previous video on designer fragrances that are full bottle worthy. See you guys in the next one.